Now, a remarkable shift happening in American public life. Ever since the baby boomer generation, surveys have shown women are more religious than men, but not anymore. Two new surveys show Gen Z men are more likely to claim religious affiliation and even attend church than their female counterparts. Let's bring in NBC News correspondent and NBC News Now daily anchor Morgan Radford for a closer look at this trend and what it means, even politically, Morgan.
Mika, great question. It has a lot of political implications, especially if you sort of look down in the decades to come. But it's a trend that America's religious leaders have been paying attention to. But it's also something that a growing number of political groups are tracking, since this shift toward religion is happening at the very same time that we're also seeing more young men lean conservative on a number of social issues. It's a shift that has huge implications, as we mentioned, for the future of both parties.
20-year-old Owen Girard has changed.
I was on the steps of the Florida State Capitol, advocating for climate activism, the Green New Deal, all that stuff.
A lot. And then now?
And I'm a staunch conservative.
A conservative voter and a conservative Christian.
What changed?
Well, really, it was the faith journey that really fundamentally transformed my political views.
For the first time in modern American history, more young men than women are claiming religious affiliation, a gender gap of 7%, while men under 30 who lean Republican have also outpaced Democrats for the first time in more than a decade.
You get aligned with other men that are like, hey, I actually have the same views as you, and it's like, it's okay to have that view.
Here at the Faith Forward Pastor Summit in Gainesville, Georgia, hosted by an arm of the conservative activist group Turning Point USA, the call for young conservative men.
We're called to be biblical and we're called to be political.
Is finding a bigger audience than ever before.
I had a burning desire in my heart, a heavenly desire that wasn't being filled by anything of this world.
Are you seeing more young men, Gen Z, come into the church?
Yeah, we are.
Here we are.
For Shane Winnings, who leads the national men's ministry group Promise Keepers,
what kind of man are you?
It's all part of a bigger strategy.
I think it's very intentional. And I think the messaging from the administration was very intentional.
The Trump administration?
Yeah, it was to win those kind of people.
Who?
And the young people, the men who want to be men.
If you fear culture, then you don't fear God.
Men who want to, or can be convinced to, return to what he calls traditional values.
What we're seeing in this erosion where now anyone can be a family. Two men can be a family and they can adopt kids, which I think is problematic. Two women could be a family, they can adopt kids. Marriage doesn't mean anything anymore.
What threat is that to you if those two men love each other?
Because you can point statistically to our society being eroded from within because two men automatically create an unstable household because that is not God's design for a family.
And you think that hurts America?
Absolutely.
Which extends to policy issues that he believes are fundamentally against God.
When we talk about the intertwining of faith and politics, a lot of the messaging here is about eradicating wokeness.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Well, I think wokeness, is really anything that comes against God's design. It's this progressive mentality. Wokeness is like DEI. Wokeness is...
You think that's against God?
Yes, 100%.
How so?
Well, I mean, it is everything it claims to be against. DEI is discriminatory. It is racist. DEI says, what's your skin color and who do you sleep with? You're getting to the front of the line.
Can I push back on that?
Please.
My interpretation of DEI and affirmative action is essentially saying, not that you must promote me because I'm black, but you are not allowed to discriminate against me.
But that's already a part of our Constitution and already a part of our laws. DEI has been used to push people to the front of the line who don't belong there.
If someone calls some points and says that's a DEI hire,
I think that's wrong too.
Do you think they're pointing at you or you think they're pointing at me?
I don't know. I'll tell you what, though, I think it's wrong to make a snap judgment. That is not godly.
Because it assumes that the only people who can have good things are straight white men.
Exactly. And that's a problem.
I'm excited. You have your Bible?
So at Promise Keepers, we are pushing biblical truth, which teaches people to look at the character. Listen what people are saying.
Are the young men who support LGBTQ rights or believe in DEI, are they welcome here?
They're welcome. They might not want to come back.
a sentiment that's echoed in recent polling. 67% of the country says homosexuality should be accepted, but less than half of young Christian men agree, creating a dramatic split with their Christian female peers, one that experts say could have an impact for decades to come.
So what you actually see is that young men are moving to the right when it comes to sexuality and gender, while young women are moving further and further to the left than any generation prior to them. The gender divide is going to get larger and larger.
A generational shift among men who say the political right is right for them.
Well, interestingly, on the flip side, more young women are leaving the church in record numbers, and some possible reasons. 61% of Gen Z women identify as feminists, far greater than previous generations, and nearly 2/3 say they do not believe that churches treat men and women equally.
Such a fascinating piece. So let's talk about the politics of all this. Obviously, we were just talking to the head of the DNC about what happened in November, why Democrats may have lost. Men central to that. I'm not just talking about white men. I'm talking about men, young men in particular. So what are the political implications of that report you just showed us?
I'm actually glad that you said not just white men, because this coalition that is bubbling up is actually becoming more inclusive racially, which has been a little bit surprising, frankly, to watch in the data. But what economists say is that if you actually look, if women are leaving the church, where are these far-right men going to meet these women? If you're not meeting at the church, you're not meeting at the bar, but they're saying this is actually could have implications romantically. It could have implications on the birth rate, because you can't pair if women are ideologically so far left and you're moving so far right, which means you're actually sort of compromising or putting at risk the very traditional family that you're trying to see.
Well, I'm reading a lot about women not getting married, opting not to get married, not finding
We've talked about
partner.
that, yeah.
Yep. I'm curious, these young men, are they going to the church first and then finding the conservative political messaging, or are they seeking it out and finding it in churches?
It's a great question. It's sort of like the chicken or the egg, and the answer is both. And what surprised me is that the pastors we spoke to said that the more strident their message is against the mainstream, right? We already know that basically 2/3 of the country believes that, you know, same-sex marriage is okay, abortion is okay, that transgender rights should be part of the tapestry of this country. But they're saying the more strident they are against those things, they can use that as a recruitment tool. They said, we don't believe in gummy bear Jesus or candy Christianity. And they said, I never forgot sort of the analogy of one pastor. He said, look, you're welcome to come break bread with us and have food at the table, but don't think we're changing the menu. The menu was set millennia ago.
Oh, my goodness, millennia ago. You know, it to me, as we were having the same conversation around the loneliness epidemic of men, young men especially, it sounds like that the church is a place where people are finding community, and that community potentially could be, I mean, the only term I can think of is radicalizing them around this particular ideology as it relates to the nuclear family and what millennia set. And I thought it was interesting because I don't think millennia had you in mind.
Or you.
Or me. Did they know you were black? That's what I want to know.
Oh, is that the real question?
Yeah. No, but the community question.
Look, I think they are saying it's a place that they can find community, but it's what that community looks like now. And they're saying they want to revert back to this traditional community, but they say that progress was such a bad word, right? They don't want to see progress. So the question is traditional even enough? Or does it need to be regressive community? And the opposite side of it is you look at a lot of these progressive Christians who say, look, if you're denying someone inclusion in your church because of DEI or some such thing, are you reflecting the fact that God created us all in his image? Because if he created us in his image, he created all of us and all of our multiplicities. So it's an interesting conversation.
Remarkable piece and remarkable conversation. NBC's Morgan Radford, thank you very much for bringing it to us.